is a bag. Now what's inside? Does he seek or does he hide? Can you spy him deep within? Little Possum, black as sin.
Welcome back, everybody. So today's video is going to be a new movie review. This one is about a movie called Possum, and it's available on Amazon Prime to watch. Directed by Matthew Holmes. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. It stars two actors. One, Sean Harris, which you might recognize him from the alien movie Prometheus, and the protagonist, Alan Armstrong. The movie Possum is classified as horror, but it's not your typical type of horror movie that you're used to watching. It's not a possession type of movie. It's not a demonic type of movie. It's not a slasher type of movie. It's not an action type of horror movie. It's not a gore type of movie. It's not a Lovecraftian type of horror movie. It is a psychological horror movie. It's very low budget. It's a slow burn. It starts off slow, but when it picks up like crazy. It's not a movie that I would say is a must watch for everybody, because most people won't be able to watch more than 45 minutes of it, because it is a hard topic and you also don't know who to root for and if you should be actually rooting for anybody in the movie until the very end, when the plot comes unraveled and you understand what our characters have been going through. The protagonist, Philip, is a puppeteer. Just to be honest, I'm probably going to be talking about spoilers, because it would be much easier to just talk about the entire movie. So if it is something you're interested in watching, I'm going to do my best to warn you guys about the major spoilers coming out, especially the major spoilers. So Philip is a puppeteer, and he crafted this disturbing looking puppet that we see glimpses of it in the beginning of the movie until about maybe a half an hour into the movie. Once we reach the half-hour point of the movie, we see what Possum looks like. Possum very much looks like Philip. So the movie starts with Philip holding a leather bag with something in it, and he's always with that leather bag, that tote bag, that duffel bag throughout the entire movie, pretty much until the last quarter of the movie. So he's on a train and there's a kid across from him that's with his friends, and he's drawing stuff in a book that catches the attention and the eye of Philip. And like most people, when we're being watched, we feel it. So the teenager that he's looking at, his name is Michael, and Michael looks up to see who's staring at him, and he catches Philip staring him down. But Philip turns his gaze away.
Alright, well, my uncle told me, and his name's a policeman.
Bollocks, is he?
Oh, wait, he knows all about you, Dave.
So as the kids get off the train, Philip gets off the train with them, but he also approaches Michael to ask Michael what he was drawing in his book. So obviously, stranger danger. Michael, being smart, gives him a piercing look and gets away from him. So we don't see any other interaction between Michael and Philip outside of the train station.
What were you drawing?
And then eventually Philip is making his way home. It's a very dingy, very rundown, very dirty, like it's an, you don't want to be in there. You don't want to be in there. So he goes home and he's met with his roommate, who's also his uncle. So I don't know if he's been living with his uncle throughout his entire life, but it does seem to be hinted at that his uncle was the one that was taking care of him. And right away, his uncle, his name is Maurice, he cuts a very striking character. He looks very, very dirty and somebody that you do not want to spend even a second of your time. You don't want to spend a single second with him. He gives you that very unsettling feeling that you just, get away from me, get the hell out of here.
Mind of its own. The legs are impressive. What exactly is it?
It's a puppet.
So throughout the movie, Maurice badgers Philip. He kind of bullies him, asks him to tell him some stories about his past, particularly one about a fox.
Tell me again about the fox.
Why?
That he and his friends, I don't remember, don't quote me on this, but I remember Philip was part of it, but his friends were kicking the fox until it died, and then, if I remember correctly, his friends grabbed Philip's face and put it into the dead creature's wound where they were kicking at it. And then at one point, when his friends left, the fox came back to life. So the fox wasn't actually dead, it was playing Possum. So that's the story that Maurice forces Philip to say, and Philip tells him the story, and you know something is wrong by the way that he's telling the story. There's more to the story than meets the eye. And of course, Maurice laughs at him, saying how clever the fox was, outsmarting all of them. He was just playing dead.
Sly bugger. Playing with you.
So there is a disturbing little poem story that Philip, that we hear recited throughout the movie a few times, called Possum. It's very dark, very disturbing. So it does deal with child abuse of the very Red series nature. So the thing with Philip is he's a very difficult character because you don't know what is actually going on with him. You know for sure something is not right. It slowly gets revealed what happened to him. We'll get to that towards the end of the video. But you are never certain where you stand with this character. You sometimes sympathize with the character, and then other times you're like, wait a second, that's not right, that's not cool. So you're always questioning yourself. There's even parts where I even question myself on what I felt about Maurice, which we'll get to towards the end of the video as well. So as the story unravels, the main focus of the movie is Philip and his duffel bag that has his puppet, Possum. So he's trying to get rid of it. He tries to get rid of it a bunch of times. He tries to drown it a couple of times. He tries to burn it. He tries to abandon it. But whatever he does, the Possum puppet keeps coming back to him. Just like our past, it always comes back to us. It always follows us. it is what it is. You can't escape your past. You can learn from it, but your past is always part of you. And this is what Philip is trying to get rid of, which is why I was always like, was Philip a fan? Was Philip a schoolyard enthusiast? By the end, we kind of get the answer to that. So anything that Philip does to get rid of Possum, nothing works. Possum just keeps on coming back to him. Possum is a very, very unsettling puppet because it has a human head with this blank stare like this that also kind of looks like Philip. And apparently the body of Possum is also made from roadkill, from what I understand, from what I have read. It's made out of roadkill as well. The limbs look like they're made out of, they could be made out of wood. There does seem to be a little bit of fur, which is reddish brown, so it could be parts of a fox for all I know. But you just can't tell what the puppet is made out of. So as the story progresses, the reason why in the beginning the focus was on the train, the teenage boy Michael. So Michael has disappeared. He was abducted, and the entire town is suspecting, of course, Philip, because the description of the suspect very much fits Philip, and also Philip was the last person that was seen with him apart from his friends.
Of a 14-year-old boy near Falmarsh in Norfolk. Officers are searching local woodlands and waste ground in an effort to find the teenager who was last seen on his way home from Marshwood Secondary School in the area of Falmarsh.
Is that you, pervert?
So the more suspicious the town grows, the stronger the need and the urge for Philip to dispose of Possum grows. And throughout the movie, his uncle Maurice becomes more and more antagonistic, badgers him more, but he also seems to be pushing him to come out with something, to say something about his past, to not hide anymore. So that was a reason why I was like, okay, maybe I'm wrong about Maurice. Maybe he is a villainous person, but with virtuous intent by making Philip come out with his past. Boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. So a little bit of, this is where we're going into a little bit of spoilers because we are nearing the end of the movie. So spoilers, if you guys want to cut out over here, if you guys do want to cut out over here because you don't want to hear the spoilers, if you like the video, please leave a like on the video. Leave me a comment of what else you guys want me to cover for movie reviews. I have a huge variety of interesting movies, so let me know in the comments. Now let's continue with the rest of the review. So towards the end we have a scene where Philip is in the backyard with Maurice and they're burning the the body of Possum in a oil drum. So there is what seems to be a heart-to-heart moment between Philip and Maurice, this part of the movie, where it comes out that Maurice didn't know that the extent of the bullying that Philip has gone through, and I think they also acknowledge that Philip was sexually abused as a young man, sorry. And Maurice shows sadness and sympathy for his nephew Philip at this point, and he puts his hand on his shoulder and has an expression of sorrow and regret and sympathy for his nephew. And that's why I was like, okay, so Maurice is not the bad guy of the movie. So what is going on?
Stuffed them inside the bag, didn't they? Wore a mask, so they couldn't see him. There, lad. I had no idea. I'm sorry. Here. I had no idea.
So they burn Possum. Maurice gives Philip a green gumball, which they never talk about what the gumball is. There is a scene where Philip even asks Maurice what those things are, but it's never explained. So he gives Philip the gumball. He puts it in his mouth to suck on it, to chew it, whatever, and he can't do it. So it's like, I think that could be a representation of he can't swallow what's going with the reality of the situation of what is going on. He can't cope with his reality. So that's what the gumball is supposed to represent. Reality, how reality and truth is sometimes hard to swallow and we choke on it. So at this point, the story starts to ramp up. The town is very suspicious of Philip. The police are after Philip. They come to the house, and Maurice tells the police that Philip was not home. And then he informs Philip Maurice tells Philip that he's going to be leaving and is going to leave the house to him, and he doesn't want him to invite any difficulties to the house. So at this point, Philip starts going crazier and crazier, and this is where I have to give credit to the actor that played Philip, Sean Harris. I did not recognize him right away when I first saw him in the movie, but his acting, like, it is Oscar award winning. Is the Oscar award the one that is for movies, or is it the Golden Globes? Who the freak cares about that garbage? He did an amazing job portraying Philip. The expressions, the emotions that he goes through are so hard to watch sometimes, because it's very guttural. You could feel like everything you can almost feel everything he's going through, and I think that is one of the best acting jobs I have seen in a very long time. Like, there's some things that he does that are mind-blowing with his emotions and his field of expression. Like, I'm showing you guys some of them in the background just to get an understanding of how great of an actor he is. Even as awkward as he acts, the way he walks, the way he talks, it is something that is difficult to do because it's something so out of human nature, and he does it so exceptionally well that it's very, very believable, and it adds to the unsettling nature that is the movie Possum. So realizes he can't run from his past, so he starts going back to the school to talk to his principal that knew what happened to him as a kid, and the principal wanted to help him as a kid, so he goes back to the school to get the assistance of his principal or teacher. But when the secretary is talking with the teacher, and Philip loses his nerve. It's obviously not something easy to do, so he runs out. So because he chickened out of his responsibility, out of his resolve of what he was going to do, the possum starts haunting him again, but this time much more intensely, because Philip finally had resolve, and now he's abandoning that resolve to do the right thing, whatever that right thing is. We're getting to it. Again, that part's gonna be major spoiler. So he keeps running and he keeps running, and everywhere he goes, anywhere he goes, Possum is just around the corner. So there's a part where he has no other choice but to finally stop. Possum is right there in front of him. We have a little bit of a descent into a madness, but it's strange because you feel the panic and the anxiety and the stress coming out of Philip, but this is where I noticed that you don't sense evil or anything bad up to a point with Possum. After a little while, Possum stops being threatening, and you start actually strangely understanding Possum. And it was very odd when you started realizing this, because that's the moment where Possum puts his tentacles, his tentacles and spider legs around Philip, and Philip almost looks, even though he breaks down and cries, he almost looks like it was something of a relief that he accepted it. He's not running from it anymore. So throughout the movie, there was a room in the house that Maurice kept taunting Philip. So, are you going to go in yet? Are you going to go in this time? Are you going to go in now? Are you going to go in now? And Philip always says no. He always chickens out. It's like he knows something is bad in that room, and then when he's confronted with it, he doesn't want to approach the room and he runs away. Don't forget, at this point, Maurice is out of the picture. He left because he didn't want anything associated to the investigation of the child disappearance of Michael and Philip being the prime suspect in the case of the abduction. So now that the house is alone, Philip finally gets the courage to open the door. And what we find in the room is very unsettling. It's a bedpost, like the head of the headboard of a bed, a blanket, two jars of teeth, a couple of pictures, and some belongings. The room looks very, very cold, abandoned, and dirty. It's not a pleasant scene to look at. And he picks up one of the drawers that had the teeth, I'm not sure whose the teeth are, if they're his parents or not. I'm not sure, because throughout the movie he keeps looking at a picture of these people that I think are supposed to be his parents, but we are never told that information. Like, there's a lot of things the movie did not address, that it always keeps open. So as he's looking at the jar, he gets jumped by a man in a black mask, and that man puts the duffel bag that Philip used to carry Possum in. So he grabs him and he wrestles him and he throws him to the ground. And then, so this is where the major spoiler of the movie is. If you got this far and you want to leave because you don't want to have the ending of the movie spoiled for you, I get it. Just please leave a like. Let me know what you thought of the video, like I had said before to the other people. So you could be on your way. Cool. Now, for everybody that stuck around, that doesn't mind having the movie spoiled, let's finish it up, shall we? So he wrestles Philip to the ground, and then he removes the duffel bag from his head. Philip is panicking, and then the guy removes the black ski mask, the balaclava that he was wearing. And who would it be? That's right.
Come to see Mummy and Daddy.
No.
Uncle Maurice. So Maurice starts slapping Philip around, starts harassing him, laughing at him, making fun of him, and starts talking about his fingers. Do you remember these fingers, Philip?
Uncle Maurice with his fingers.
No.
Do you like my fingers, boy? Have you missed them?
No. Please, Uncle Maurice, don't. Please, don't.
Do you want my fingers, you dirty, filthy boy?
No.
So there was a reason why Uncle Maurice, good old Uncle Maurice, was made to look so dirty, so vile, so gross, so unsettling. And that is because Uncle Maurice used to Philip when he was younger, and he would use his fingers. So the story is very complicated because Maurice does not hide the fact anymore that he was the abuser of Philip. And he tells Philip he knew that he was the one that was molesting him, and he also knew that Philip knew that Maurice was the one that was abducting children and killing them. And he never said anything. He just kept quiet.
You knew it was me, didn't you, boy? Out by the barracks. You knew it was me, didn't you?
Yes.
It's where I worked. Worked everywhere I have. But you said nothing. Silly boy.
So Maurice is manhandling Philip, and Philip's world is of course collapsing around him. Maurice tells him to open his mouth, and I don't know why he does this, but he sticks. He's got these long, gnarly fingers with these long, dirty fingernails, and he sticks them in Philip's mouth, making him gag. He doesn't throw up or anything. Thank God, that would have been way too much. So I guess that was his way of getting him to start talking and start acknowledging his past and what happened. Maybe this was also the way of Maurice wanting everything to be aired and to see if Philip will finally become a man and do the right thing and finish everything once and for all with Maurice. But because Philip has been going through so much trauma through his life, because he is a grown-ass man that went through child abuse, and generally speaking, male or female, boy or girl, you don't turn out right. You don't turn out right. Some repeat their history, which is, I try to understand. I'm very much on the fence about it. So now, the crescendo of the movie. So our story with Michael is not over yet. So even though Maurice is manhandling Philip like a little boy, like a little puppet, maybe that's why he stuck his fingers in him, because he wanted to control him as a puppet. Holy shit. Is Philip Possum because Maurice was controlling Philip like a puppet? Oh, that is so gross. Remember these fingers, Philip? Bro, that is so gross. That is so meta and next level. Matthew, if that's what you did, like, amazing job with this movie. So the story with Michael doesn't end. So during the struggle, Philip catches a glimpse of a briefcase, a big briefcase that moves, and I think we also hear something, and that's when Philip realizes, holy shit, Michael is in the briefcase. And that is where Philip stops being a boy and becomes a man, turns the tables on Maurice, gets on top of Maurice. You see the briefcase keep shaking, so he's on top of Maurice, and Maurice is still laughing at him, thinking that Philip still can't do anything for himself and still can't do the right thing. So Philip puts his hand under his uncle's jaw, and as he's laughing, Maurice is laughing, Philip keeps pushing back and pushing back and pushing back and pushing back until breaks the neck of Maurice. Justice is served. Philip runs to the suitcase, opens it, and out pops Michael. God knows how long Michael has been in the briefcase and what Maurice was doing to him in the meantime. But thankfully, Philip finally woke up, did the right thing, and set him free. And at that point, the entire demeanor of Philip changes. He no longer has that worried, terrified, stressed, anxious look that he's had through the entire movie. He is now a fully realized, full-grown man. And we see him at the end, Philip holding the head of Possum, while the body of Possum is disconnected. So the fact that Possum's head looked a lot like Philip means that he finally separated his stress, anxiety, his head from his past, and is now accepting his future and what he's going to do in the future. So Matthew, the movie was freaking amazing. It was very difficult to watch, but I'm glad I gave it a chance. If you can stomach difficult stories, uncomfortable as hell stories, I very much recommend watching this movie. If the movie at all interests you, but you don't know if... I'm surprised I didn't freaking cut myself. This is a sharp blade. So if if you can stomach a movie like this, I would very much recommend watching it. It might take you a couple of tries to watch it, but it is definitely worth your investment of time. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching the video. Let me know what you thought of the video. Let me know what you thought of the movie if you watched it, or if you're planning on watching it after you watched my review. Stay safe, stay sane, and stay strong. And as always, I'll be back with more videos. Jigga Vega out.